All that.
So the first 5 books of the Bible is known as the Torah. That's the so-called religious text, or the legal text of the children of Israel. God gave them rules and regulations, laws, statutes, commandments to follow, right? One of the main ones is not...
Now you still missing my question on what I was asking.
You asked me about what's your religion.
No, what's the name? So
okay,
you see how they put a name on our religion,
I got you.
That's
right.
You see,
I got you.
He's answering. You gotta just
I'm explaining, brother. So let's break it down, right? The word religion goes back to the word religio, which means what you're bound to. What I'm letting you know is that the Torah is what we are bound to, because the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of our ancestors, right, entered into a covenant with the children of Israel, and that covenant was contingent upon them following those rules and regulations that are found in the Torah. So if someone asks me what's my religion, what I'm bound to is the Torah.
Right.
That's it, right?
Man can't live by bread alone. Yeah, this word got food in it. Stepping on the devil dome. You should see the bruise in it. Backing out the scripts. Told a demon to stand down. Go against the Most High. We gon' see how it pan out. The Father gave me hope. Fill me with the ghosts. Now they hate it when I glow. Joseph with the coat. Looking for their fruit, but they ain't got no cantaloupe. The Messiah or Belial, you can't be a fan of both. Can't serve 2 masters. Bread of heaven with the living water, yeah, serving up a truth platter. We ain't idolizing no folly, now we setting up a new standard. When Christ touched down, make the whole earth shake like Bruce Banner. Yeah, bringing them troops to ya. End times getting spookier. Warfare getting nuclear. Mankind getting goofier. They intoxicated with a wine, damn, she done roofied them. I'm checking every word. Spirit doctrine like a proofreader. I hate these Nicolaitans. Hate these raving idols, man, I hate these flipping pagans. Trying to play my father and I hate these imitations. Screaming out Hosanna, we escape that simulation. Better flee to me, vote these or else that lake is where you layin'. Great is he inside of me, casting out this net like I was by the Sea of Galilee. Harvest gon' be plenty, but the laborers are few. Matthew 17 and 20, there ain't nothing we can't do. I can't be no lukewarm, fringes with the blue on. Devil wanna deal, but I told him this ain't Groupon. Praise to the Almighty, you know we gon' sing a new song. Hail the King of King, the ultra low, no Jimmy Neutron. If you keep his laws and his commands, then we can fellowship. I don't get with Pharisees and I don't rock with Hellenists. I ain't praising man, cause only Father get my reverence. I'm swimming in the word, it got me feeling like a yellowfin. Yeah, big stepper, Mr. Demon Chin Checker, trying to hear that well done, cause I feel that displeasure. Father pouring out the wrath, and he got a big measure. If it ain't about the kingdom, then I don't give a 6 letter. You got faith in the Messiah, you got power. I was clean up in that blood just like a shower. Isaiah 5, you were the vine that came out sour. But now we stand and giving glory in this hour. Yeah, we breaking them curses, fleeing the ways of the serpent. Follow his word and pray for discernment, cause they want us laying in hearses. We gotta rise up, raise and resurface. Choose life and stay in your purpose. The price was paid like a merchant, through Christ who came as a servant. See, the kingdom is really the bag, but yet somehow they chasing a Birkin. After this you ain't getting a chance. While you living you can't better search him. Gotta call on his name like his urchin. Never know when that day is emerging, so repent at the weight of perversions. Judgment coming, that thing is for certain. Let's go.
Shalom, family. It's your brother Shah Ariala from the House of Bread, and I have to give all praises, all glory, and all honor to the Most High God, whose name is Yahawah. Of course, I do so in the name of His only begotten Son, Hamashiach, Yahawashi, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Make sure you make your way over to HIBofficialzion.com and get you a copy of the HIB, the Hebrew Israelite Bible. Shalom, Kwam Yasharallah.
The Hebrew Israelite Bible is the first of its kind, restoring the names of persons, places, and things in the ancient Hebrew dialect, colloquially referred to amongst the Israelite community as the Lashawan Quadash. Most importantly, it preserves the Most High's name Yahawah in the Paleo-Hebrew script. The Hebrew Israelite Bible comes complete with all 80 books found in the 1611 King James Version Bible, including the Apocrypha.
Oh, let's get a book right here. How you doing, brother? Can I use some information real quick, King? Huh? Can I use some information? So we teaching that so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans that our true heritage, that we're the children of Israel that you read about in the Bible. You believe in God? Mm-hmm. All right, so you ever read the Bible? Mm-hmm. All right, so when you read the Bible, God says that the children of Israel will go through a specific set of curses that will be indicative of who they are for their disobedience to God. Right now, one of those curses says that you will go into bondage on ships.
I am Islam. I can still, yeah.
So you believe in Islam, right? So you know about Abraham, right? So Abraham had 8 sons in total, right? He had Ishmael, where Arabs come from and where Islam comes from, and then he had Isaac, who was the chosen, right? What we're teaching is that we actually come from the chosen line, and the way that we're supposed to follow is the same way that Abraham followed, right? Which was following God's commandments, which you read about in the Torah. Now, the Quran does tell you to, if you're ever in doubt, seek those that had the book before you. Well, who had the book before the Muslims?
Well, honestly speaking, they all practically closely similar.
Huh?
They're all practically closely similar.
Well, so yes and no, right? So like Islam, right? Islam says that drinking alcohol is haram, right? Well, the God of the Bible literally tells you in certain instances to actually have drink offerings, right? To drink, right? Another situation is the God of the Bible, when it comes to sacrifices, there's supposed to be an altar established. In Islam, there's no altars. Altars are not a thing, right? So the truth of the matter is, good brother, is that Islam is the way of the Ishmaelites. It's not the way of us. Our heritage, we're the Israelites, right? We're God's chosen people. Ishmael, the word Ishmael means heard of God.
So you're missing the point of that. All of us are God's people, whether you want to believe it or not. We're all God's people. We're all His servants.
Well, where does that? Where are you getting that from?
Because we all have a purpose.
Can I show you something real quick?
We all have a purpose.
Of course, everyone does have a purpose, right? But can I show you something real quick, right? So check this out, right? This is the book of Genesis, chapter 17, right? Show you real quick.
Which is the Torah, right? Yeah. Islam adhere to the Torah, right?
The Torah, the Quran, and the Injil.
Right. Yeah. So this is the Torah.
Gotcha. Watch this. So this is Genesis 17:17. Then Abraham fell on his face and laughed and said in his heart, "Shall a child be born unto him that is 100 years old? And shall Sarah that is 90 years old bear?" And Abraham said unto God, "Oh, that Ishmael," right, where Arabs come from, where Islam comes from, "might live before thee." And God said, "Sarah thy wife shall bear thee a son indeed, and thou shalt call his name Isaac, and I will establish my covenant with him forever, for an everlasting covenant, and with his seed after him. And as for Ishmael, I have heard thee. Behold, I have blessed him, and I will make him fruitful and multiply him exceedingly. 12 princes shall he beget, and I will make him a great nation. But my covenant will I establish with Isaac, which Sarah shall bear unto thee at this set time next year." Right? So when you read the Torah, it tells you that Abraham sent out Hagar, the mother of Ishmael, and Ishmael with a loaf of bread and a bottle of water. Right? And God told him to do it. Right? And that God was going to still bless Ishmael, but the covenant was going to be established with Isaac and his descendants. Now Isaac had 2 sons, Esau and Jacob. Right? Jacob his name was changed to Israel, and he's the father of the Israelites. And what we're telling our people is that we are the descendants of Israel. Right? We are literally descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We're not descendants of Ishmael. So the ways in which the Ishmaelites follow, that's for them. God made a covenant with us.
We're descendants of Adam. We're all descendants of Adam.
Absolutely. Can I show you?
So it's not that you can't say you're not a descendant of a certain person if we're all descendants of Adam.
I got you.
You're not going to be a descendant of those people.
Well, so Abraham's a descendant of Adam.
Yes, we're all specific. That's like me being a
part of the
descendant
context,
from my
brother.
Grandfather, and he may have been, a great slave, or whatever the case may be. It's still this. It's not.
But part of the context of that story, right? When we all come from Adam, when we all know the story, there was a chosen one, and then there was an unfavored one, right? But that's the theme of the whole Torah. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. So, but that's what the point he's driving is that everybody might become from Adam. We all might be creation, but God has a favorite.
Yeah. God has let me show you
had a favorite.
So this is the book of second. Let's read this. This is the book of 2 Ezra chapter 6 and verse 53. It says, "Upon the 6th day thou gavest commandment unto the earth, that before thee it should bring forth beasts, cattle, and creeping things. And after these Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all." Right? Everyone descends from Adam, right? Because you had the flood, right? Adam's descendants, Noah, Ham, Shem, Japheth, their wives, they all survived, right? Everyone on the earth descends from Adam, right? However, this is what the Bible says. It says, "And these Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen, All this have I spoken before thee, O Lord, because thou madest the world for our sakes. And as for the other people which also come from Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and has likened them, likened the abundance of them that unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So God has said that everyone else don't matter to him, because he said that I have severed you from other nations that you would be mine. So God literally chose us, right? And he chose us to follow his ways.
And that's Torah.
And his ways is not Islam.
No, that's all. His ways is not no religion. That's where everybody is missing it.
Well, Islam is a religion, right?
Christianity is a religion, ain't it?
We're not teaching Christianity.
Christians.
We don't follow Christianity.
No, I didn't say y'all.
But you say
Christian.
you Muslim, right?
Yes, I am Muslim.
That's a religion.
Right. But it's still, I didn't say y'all were Muslim or Christian,
right,
or, you know.
So what's your issue with religion?
Right.
There's no issue with religion.
Okay.
I didn't say I had an issue with religion.
Okay.
But we just thought so because you were like, well, Christians are religion, right? So you were leading,
Exactly.
Right.
I'm Muslim. I have a religion.
I understand that, right?
So, but we're not speaking to religion, brother.
You're missing my point.
Okay.
Missing my point.
What's your point?
Like I'm saying, it's not it's not a religion. Yes, today we look at it as separate religions. Because I'm Muslim, the next person is Christian, or so on and so forth. But it's not no difference. It's every prophet beforehand was trying to teach the same shit to do what?
But
excuse my French.
You good. We ain't tripping. Nah, you good.
The same thing was to do what? To praise and worship God, right?
What God though?
Right.
Because the God of the Quran and the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is not the same God.
Not the same.
Right? When you actually go into the history of
that's when you speak on it. But now
so that's not the God of your ancestors.
As being personally, that's because you're looking at it from me just being Muslim.
No, I understand.
Study the book.
I study Islam,
yes,
and
I'm still a practicing studying Muslim.
Okay.
Now,
How long you been Muslim?
What I'm saying, I've been Muslim for 5-7 years.
Okay, so you took your shahada.
Yes.
Right. So what does the shahada say?
Yes.
What does the shahada say?
Right.
What do you mean, like, what is it?
Like, what does it? Can you say it?
Like,
what's the shahada?
So in English, it basically means I understand that nothing has the right to be worshipped but Allah.
Okay.
I worship His messenger, Muhammad. I mean, not worship His messenger. I follow His messenger.
So you follow Muhammad. Do you believe in the hadiths?
Yes.
So are you familiar with the classifications of hadiths and like strong hadiths, weak hadiths, and whatnot?
Yes.
All right. So Sahih Bukhari, right? Sahih Muslim, right? These are all strong hadiths. Are you familiar with the fact that those hadiths attest to the fact that Muhammad, right, who's the prophet that you're supposed to follow, that he married Aisha when she was 6 and consummated, meaning had sex with her when she was 9 years old? Are you familiar with that? What do you feel? How do you feel about that?
Now,
would you give your 9-year-old daughter to a grown man in his 50s?
And that's a strong hadith.
Now, it is. Now, it's crazy because we was actually just having a conversation about this the other day.
Okay.
Or like last week with a Christian brother.
Okay.
So now, me personally into something like that, I don't. It's different from how we are today.
How's it different?
How it was back then.
How's it different?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, because we hear that often.
Then again, you didn't have people like crime was always there. But you didn't have people naturally like the way crime is today. Crime is practically like a natural thing today.
Okay, so is it a crime that Muhammad has sex with a 9-year-old? Is that a crime? Would you consider that criminal?
Today, yes.
So you saying it wasn't a crime back then? Do you think that God would be okay with in any time frame for a 50-plus-year-old man to have sex with a 9-year-old?
Now, that's like that. Now, what you're trying to get at is like saying that's like when God also told one of the prophets to kill their child. You think that's okay?
But he didn't.
But he didn't. It was a test of his law.
It was, but he still told
him.
But
you're talking about Abraham,
brother. That's
you're talking about Abraham. What?
But exactly. So he still told him.
So Abraham.
No, I get what you're saying.
No, because Muhammad, he didn't take Aisha because God told him to. That was of his own volition. So it's not the same thing.
He still said in the name of Allah. Am I right?
And that's evil, brother.
That's what I'm saying.
So go back to my original question. Do you have children?
So you saying Islam is evil?
I'm saying that Islam is not. I'm saying that Islam is not for us to follow, for our people to follow, because we're not Arabs.
Right.
We're not Israelites.
I get what you're saying. Now it's something I actually seen, and anybody can be Muslim, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anyone can follow Islam. Yes.
It's like you don't have to be Arab to be a.
I understand that,
right.
but how did Islam spread? Islam spread? Islam spread by the sword, right? When you look at how Islam spread, right? The year after Muhammad allegedly died, right? The Rashidun Caliphate, they invaded modern day Persia, right? Right now we look at Iran, right? Saudi Arabia and whatnot. The Saudis are Sunni, the Iranians are Shia, right? And the only reason why the Iranian people are Muslim is because Arabs came, invaded, conquered them, right? Enslaved them, raped them, and then they also went over to the.
Now you're getting into exactly what the other brother was saying, the same thing, because he was saying how he was Muslim, then he was Christian, went Muslim, and he went back to Christianity. You're getting into the same thing that he's saying about.
I'm not, because here's the Christianity. I'm not talking about Christianity.
Can I finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
You are getting into the same thing. I'm not saying you're saying Christian and Muslim, but you're getting into the same exact thing he's saying. He was trying. But is
it true though?
Think about it like this, right? As God, this is from God's point of view. If I put something down here as the right thing for you to do, and you as the people, y'all take and misconstrue this.
Okay.
So I go the next time and I do the same thing again.
Okay.
Take and misconstrue it again. I do the same thing. Here, I'm gonna give you all this. After so many, that's like you with your child. If you tell your child to stay off of this, how many times you gonna tell him to stay off of it before you finally be like, all right, I'm not saying that.
And God did, and that happened to us. That happened to us. But that happened to us.
So stop saying religions are different from each other. Yes, they're physically different. They're physical.
Doctrinally, they are everything about them.
So their acts are different.
Their teachings as well.
That's because we're not seeing the full point behind everything. Yes, we learn, and this is what we're supposed to do. We're supposed to learn, seek knowledge, and look. No matter what religion we are, period. We're even as us being different people, and you see how we actually having different thoughts right now. What we're supposed to be having is different thoughts coming together, not rebuttaling and canceling out the other person. Because you're wrong, and how do you know I'm wrong? How do you just because you actually learned and watched on it, how do you know you're completely right?
Okay, so let's get back to where we were, right? Because we got a little disrail, right? Because I'm asking you about like Muhammad, right? He's the prophet. So because according to the Shahada, right? Only Allah is to be worshipped, right? And you're supposed to follow his messenger, right? It says Rasul, right? Rasul, right? So Rasul means messenger. It doesn't mean prophet. So Muhammad's not a prophet. 1, 2. If that's the case, right? Muhammad is who you're supposed to be following. Muhammad married a 9-year-old. Why wouldn't you marry a 9-year-old? Why would
you physically marry a 9-year-old?
But why would it? But would you? No. But wait.
Because she was 9.
That's evil.
That's the point.
If a 50-year-old man has sex with a 9-year-old girl, right?
Let's say outright say that's evil.
Do you have a daughter? Do you have children?
Yes, I have a daughter.
All right, and if your young daughter, God forbid, right?
This is. I'm not a prophet, so we can't. I'm not a prophet.
Prophets
so
are
okay
above.
Prophets
are supposed to be held to a higher standard.
So exactly.
So again, you're saying that Prophet Muhammad, right, who's supposed to be held to this high.
What religion are y'all?
My religion is the Torah, right? Because the word religion means what you're bound to.
I'm glad you said that. So what religion is that specifically, per se?
Okay, so when we look at the story of the Bible, Christianity has nothing to do with what we're talking about, right?
I'm not saying that. I'm saying so.
The Torah, Christianity doesn't practice the Torah.
So the main 3 religions or books we hear in any one of them.
The Bible is not a Christian book. It's not. So the Bible. Let me explain real quick, brother.
Right, just go on. I'm gonna just be quiet from now on.
Let me just explain it, right?
Just go on.
So the Bible is a compilation of various different books, right? You have the first 5 books known as the Torah.
Yes, I know that. The Bible is the 4 Gospels. I know all that.
No, it's more than the 4 Gospels.
I know all that. I know all that.
Okay, so the first 5 books of the Bible is known as the Torah. That's the so-called religious text or the legal text of the children of Israel. God gave them rules and regulations, laws, statutes, commandments to follow, right? One of the main ones is not.
Now you still missing my question on what I was asking.
You asked me about what's your religion.
No, it's the name. So
okay,
you see how they put a name on our religion,
I got you.
That's right.
You see, I got you.
He's answering. You gotta just
I'm explaining, brother. So let's break it down, right? The word religion goes back to the word religio, which means what you're bound to. What I'm letting you know is that the Torah is what we are bound to, because the God of the Bible, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God of our ancestors, right, entered into a covenant with the children of Israel, and that covenant was contingent upon them following those rules and regulations that are found in the Torah. So if someone asks me what's my religion, what I'm bound to is the Torah.
Right.
That's it, right? My race or my true identity or ethnicity is that I'm an Israelite. Right, and what we're teaching is that we.
So it's not, you saying it's not a name; it's just a people.
No, I'm saying so. I'm talking about a people. So listen. So for instance, right, in ancient Egypt, right, the Egyptians had a pantheon of gods that they worshiped. That was their religion. It was for those people, right? In ancient Mesopotamia, they had pantheons of different gods that they worshiped. Those are those people groups, and they worship certain gods, right? When it comes to the Israelites, the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, we have no pantheon. We have one God, right? The Most High God, his name is Yahawah, right? You may have heard Yahweh or Jehovah, yeah. Right? His name is Yahawah, right? And he made a covenant with our forefather Abraham. He said that my covenant is not going to be with Ishmael, but it's going to be with Isaac. And then that covenant passed from Isaac to Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, and we are the Israelites. So our religion is that we're supposed to follow the ways of our God, which are spelled in the Torah.
Right now, you basically answered and led back into what I was saying about this is why we should not be basically canceling each other out and saying it's wrong just because it is 1,000 pointers and facts saying that this is wrong and why it's wrong, because you still don't know. I do know. Do you know everything you literally just said is still closely intertwined to
It's not.
You
because
still,
hold on.
You still got to go back to this man and this 9-year-old.
I'm not even going to go there. Let me ask you a question. According to the Quran, can you eat?
Right. Hold on.
According to the Quran, can you eat shrimp? According to the Quran, can you eat shrimp? Are you allowed to eat shrimp according to the Quran?
You mean seafood?
Yeah, seafood.
Shrimp.
Any seafood. Shrimp, crab, lobster, any type of seafood. Can you eat that according to the Quran?
I was told it depends.
You can. The answer is yes, you can. According to the Torah, you cannot eat shellfish. You can only eat things that come out of the water that have fins and scales, right? So that's a clear difference, right? And when we look at black folk, right? So I'm just talking about so-called black people, right? We eat shrimp, crab, lobster, and we are number one in high blood pressure, diabetes, gout, all types of diseases because we're doing exactly what God told us not to do. But Islam, what you're trying to tell me, is similar, right? Says that, hey, you can eat that. And not only that, the Quran says if you're in a situation where you're starving, right, that you can eat pork. Well, the Torah, right, in the Bible does not give any man license to sin.
Still saying all the thing, like I said.
No,
again,
but you're saying they're intertwined.
They're not intertwined.
They're like polar opposites.
There's no way that I would ever eat pork because God told me not to eat it. It's unclean.
I wouldn't either.
I know you wouldn't, but guess what? According to the book that you follow,
it says I can, but I'm not.
But our God says no, you can't. So they're not the same God.
Exactly.
So they're not intertwined. We're going on your point.
My facts again. You still.
What do you mean my facts? You can't have your own facts. Facts are facts.
The facts. That's why I mean.
The fact of the matter is that the Quran gives you a license to eat pork. It tells you that pork is haram, but it says, if you're in a bad situation and you're about to die, you can eat the pork. The Torah, the Bible does not give that stipulation. Does not give that license.
In a bad situation,
I would never eat pork.
Listen,
that's what you basically I have enough faith to know that my God is going to provide and deliver me. Right? I have enough faith in knowing that no matter what, I'm not going to eat something that God told me not to do because I'm obedient to God.
But that's the same thing he's still in Islam saying
it's not. Brother, there's a story in the Bible. There's a story in the Bible, right, that most people have not read because the Christian church took it out of the Bible. It's known as the Apocrypha, right? In the book of 2 Maccabees, there's a story of a mother with 7 sons, right? This is the time when the Greeks, right, after Alexander the Great came, and they were forcing the Jews to follow their ways.
Right.
And they were forcing the Jews, right, to eat pork. And these 7 brothers said, no, we're not going to do it. And they got boiled in oil, right? A mother had to watch her sons die, and they were willing to die, and did die, got killed with brutal deaths because they were not willing to compromise on their morals, which is dictated by the Torah of not eating pork. The chapter prior to, there was an elder, they were trying to convince him to act like he was eating pork, and he said, I will not do that because I don't want to encourage the younger brothers or the younger men and women to do the same. Right. So it's a matter of integrity and a matter of morality, and our morality is supposed to be hinged on the Torah, not on any other religious groups, ideologies, or the ways that they follow, because Islam is inherently opposite of the Torah, right? It's completely opposite. Right,
and part of that is because everything is held up by this man Muhammad. But if you study the Torah, the only people qualified to be a prophet have to come from the lineage of the Israelites.
Yeah,
Muhammad doesn't come from the Israelites, so he's already disqualified according to the Torah to even be a prophet. Right. And again, this is a self-proclaimed prophet of Arab nations. So. It's already.
No, this is a forgotten prophet.
It's not forgotten because it's the second largest religion in the world.
It is.
Muhammad's the most popular name in the world. But here's the thing: who the world calls Christ, right? Who's not to be worshipped, right? We believe in Christ, right? He's the Messiah. He died for the nation of Israel, right? And he said that straight is the gate, and narrow is the way that leadeth to life, and few there be that find it. But broad is the way, and wide is the gate that leadeth to destruction, and many there be that find it. Islam is a wide gate that's going to lead people to destruction. Listen, Arab people, Bangladeshi people, goddamn Iranian people, they can follow Islam, right? But your ancestors' God, He chose us, and we're not supposed to follow that because the first commandment is to have no other God before me. Allah is not the same as the God of the Bible. It's not the Most High God Yahweh. They're not the same God. So you're following and worshiping a God that's not our God. Our God, his name is Yahweh, right? He gave us rules and regulations that outlined in the Torah, right? And he chose us to be above all people.
He chose us to be the prophet.
He said, I chose you to be above all people. You're better than the Arab. You're better than Muhammad. You're better than Abu Bakr, Ali, all these guys. You're better than them. God views you better than them. God in the Bible says that I have given nations for you. God literally killed the firstborn of every creature in Egypt to save our ancestors, right? That's what we're trying to tell our people. Like when you watch the Prince of Egypt or the 10 Commandments, right? Those were our ancestors. That was us. We were there. We're God's chosen people, and God has never chosen anyone else.
That's again.
What's wrong with being chosen?
I didn't say nothing was wrong with being chosen. Like I said, again. That's still leading back into what I was saying.
How so?
Back then, it still was not religions. Y'all still keep taking it back to religion.
Yes, it was religion. Every people group had their own religion.
It was one way of life.
No, it was not.
It wasn't even.
When?
What history book? Where? What religious text or history book?
What do you mean people? There are various different people groups, brother.
So Moses telling the
people, Islam, you're saying everybody followed Islam back then?
No, because Islam is a newer religion, right? Islam is not even.
It wasn't Islam exactly. It wasn't Islam back then.
Yeah, but before Islam came, the Arabs were pagans.
It wasn't. It started with Moses, right?
No, it didn't start with Moses.
It didn't completely start with Moses, but
not even with Adam.
It did not start with Moses. Moses was raised in Pharaoh's house and worshipped the gods of the Egyptians, right? That's how he was raised, right?
And then he started
he had to flee Egypt. He fled Egypt, was gone for 40 years, right? And had an encounter with the angel of God in the burning bush, and then he came back to deliver his people and was given the Torah, given the way in which he was supposed to follow, and that's what he brought, right? But there were other religions. Again, the Egyptians had a pantheon, had a religion, right? The Babylonians, people in people in all these different cities, they had their own religions.
We're talking about what we're talking about.
And we're talking about
getting people
Islam
to the right path. Right?
And Islam is not the right path.
It was not Islam. It wasn't a Torah. It was not a.
What do you mean it wasn't a Torah? The Torah predates Islam. The Quran tells you to follow the Torah. And if you follow the Torah,
you're right. It wasn't. But it wasn't no like you couldn't say okay because y'all following this, y'all. It was literally just as the right way. It was just one way. It wasn't 22 different right ways of life. How?
Yeah, there is only
Islam.
So do you agree there's only one way?
Christianity completely true and like.
Do you agree that there's only one way?
Yes.
Okay. You think Islam is that? You think Islam is that one way?
Honestly speaking. We all don't.
No. Do you? What's your name, brother? I didn't get your name. My name is Anthony. What's your name?
That's great. That's my man's name. I'm Shar. Mayasha
Shar.
Mayasha
Okay.
That's my English name. My Hebrew name is Ariala, right? So what's your name, King? Brian, right? So Brian, do you, Brian, believe that Islam is the way, the correct way?
Honestly speaking, even though I am Islam, I don't know.
Okay. Well, that's what. Now ask me if my way, if I believe that my way is the right way.
Still on the path of,
finding the truth.
I got you.
Exactly.
I got you. All praises, right?
Exactly.
So now ask me the same question. Ask me if I believe that what we're teaching, right, what we're prescribing. I believe wholeheartedly that this is the only way for our people. Because I'm not concerned with white people. I'm not concerned with Asians. I'm not concerned with Arabs. I'm concerned with blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Because we're the children of Israel, and we have to follow our God.
Now let me tell you exactly why. It's not that I'm wavering on it, or it's the simple fact of because I want to understand from every aspect. Like every religion, I want to understand from every religion because I want to see the complete truth for myself personally.
Okay.
Like,
so let me ask you a
question. I want to know if, for a fact, how we're having this conversation right here. If we was to have this conversation 20 years from now again, I could come to y'all and say, all right, I read all 3 books. Yes, they're similar. This is da 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 da.
Now let me ask you this,
no,
brother.
They're not similar, and this is blah 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 blah.
Why are we even here right now? Why are we here in America right now? Why are black people here in America right now?
What do you mean in America?
Yeah, why are we here? Because we're here in the King of Prussia, in Pennsylvania, in the United States of America. Why are we here right now?
You going back to from when how it all first. And
how did our ancestors get here?
How you say slave trade?
Slave trade, right? So let me show you something that the Quran doesn't have. The Quran doesn't have prophecy, right? The Torah, the Bible has prophecy, right? So check this out. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 1, right? It says, "And it shall come to pass," right? It's going to happen. So it's prophecy to profess before it happens, right? It shall come to pass that if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord your God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command you this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee above all nations on the earth, right? So God says, if the Israelites follow my commandments, I'm going to set them above all nations, right? You jump down to verse 55, and the rest follows a bunch of blessings, right? Jump down to verse 15. It says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken or not listen to the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee, right? I'm going to jump down real quick. I'm going to show you a couple, right? So verse 45, right? It says, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee, shall follow thee, right? And overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commandments and to keep his statutes which he commanded thee, and they shall be upon thee for a sign, right? So the same way that you know this is the Rolex store, is because the sign says Rolex, right? Is the same way when you look at a certain people group, you can tell that they're the children of Israel, right? So let's look, right? It says, and they shall be upon thee for a sign and for a wonder upon thy seed, your children forever, because thou servest not the Lord thy God with joyfulness and with gladness of heart, with the abundance of all things, right? So check this out. Verse 68, it's the last verse. It says, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships. Now, the children of Israel walked into Egypt, and they walked out of Egypt. They didn't need a ship to get there or get out of there, right? Now, when we look elsewhere in the Torah, it says that Egypt is the iron furnace, right? The house of bondage. So when God says that I'm going to take you into Egypt again with ships, he's saying I'm going to send you into bondage again with ships, right? It says, by the way whereof I speak unto thee, thou shalt see no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and for bondwomen, and no man shall buy you. That word buy means to redeem, right? Because back in the day, right, let's say for instance, this is my brother, right? He falls on hard times, he sells himself into servitude to someone else, right? I, as his brother, can come and buy him back, redeem him, right? But no one redeemed us, right? So God says that the children of Israel, they're going to go through curses. These curses are going to be a sign that they're the children of Israel. And one of those curses says that you're going to go into bondage on ships. Now that happened to black people, that happened to Native Americans, and that happened to the indigenous people of South and Central America. That happened to us. That didn't happen to anyone else, right? It happened to us. So that lets us know that we are the children of Israel. And the reason why that happened is because we did not follow God's commandments. Following Islam is breaking the first commandment to having another God before God's face. Our God, his name is not Allah, right? His name is Yahawah. He has a name.
Now let me say this, because let me ask you this then, since you said that. Because they say Allah is actually all 99 names in one. So
okay.
Why do you believe that Allah is different?
I got you. I'm gonna show you.
Yahweh?
So I got you, right? So I'm gonna show you.
Technically speaking, if I say Allah, that means I'm
while he's getting that, right?
That I'm saying
generally, Allah, right? It means power.
It means God,
right? It means God. God means power.
There's many gods.
That's what I'm saying. There's exactly. So there's many gods. So that Allah is not even really a name.
Distinguishing title. It's not a distinguishing title, right? Because you have a God named Ra. You have a God named Hathor. You have a God named Marduk. You have a God named Shiva.
No, that's just like with Christians when they say, God has many names.
Well, Christians don't know anything.
That's basic.
But that's no different than Allah being all names in one, because that's many names in one.
Yeah.
So it's still the same.
Don't bring up Christians, because guess what? I was raised a Christian, right? And Christianity teaches you to.
I'm not saying it.
Bro, I'm gonna tell you straight up. Christianity teaches you to suspend your intelligence. They don't know anything, right?
They don't know.
Like even the idea that Jesus Christ is the Most High God is insane. But check this out. Let me show you this, right? So this book is Psalm chapter 83, right? When we start at the top, it says.
Now I get why. Now I understand why it's always the Torah and Islam is not arguing, how you say, going back and forth with the debate.
Yeah.
Because they the most two with the closest accurate facts. And it's crazy because, honestly speaking, in the Quran, it actually acknowledges the Torah.
Yeah. That's what we're telling you.
Actually, matter of fact, that we're saying this. That's why I keep saying what I'm saying, because you probably missed my point of what I'm saying.
Yeah.
It says that y'all are more closely aligned to Allah than we are. Like seriously.
Well, what we're telling you is that you and I are the same. We're the same people, right?
No, yes.
We're just following a different religion or following a different way, right?
So we the same people. It's not a.
Here's the thing.
People, it's like a stature type thing. Y'all more closer, higher in stature than we are. Like we are on the.
I'm gonna tell you this. You as a so-called black man, you are chosen by God.
A higher level of the boat than.
Let me ask you a question. You go to a mosque or like a masjid, right? Is the guy the leader, the imam? Is he black or is he Arab or some other race?
It depends. Most of
them are not our people.
Arab
so
or African.
You're better than him. You're better than that Arab guy, right? Because God said that you are, right? Because our God chose us, right? And Ishmael, the name Ishmael means he has heard of God, right? Our name is Israel, which means he is a prince of God. You are a prince of God, and you're following the ways of people who only heard of God. But we are supposed to know God because we're God's children. Right? God's the king, we're the princes, right? And the way that we're supposed to follow is the Torah, not Islam. Now check this out, right? So it says, keep not thou silence, O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God, for lo, thine enemies. So these people that are about to be mentioned are God's enemies. Make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. That's us, right? Now check this out. It says, they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Now check this out, right? Before the white man enslaved our ancestors, right, via the transatlantic slave trade, you have something called the trans-Saharan slave trade, where Muslim Arabs were selling us, right? But watch this, right? These people are God's enemies, right? It says, for they have consulted together with one consent, they are confederate against thee. The tabernacles of Edom, which are white people, right? And who's next? And the Ishmaelites. So the Ishmaelites, which Muhammad comes from, they're enemies of God. The enemies of the God of your ancestors, right? Now check this out. Going back to the name, right? Last 2 verses. It says, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is, now it says Jehovah because that's a transliteration, but Yahawah, art the most high of all the earth, right? Whose name alone. God only has one name. He doesn't have 99 names or have many names as even so-called Christians say, right? The name of the most high God is Yahawah, right? He's our God, right? Jesus Christ, he's not the most high God, he's the Son of God. He's not to be worshipped.
How do you spell it?
Yahawah? Yeah, so YAHAWAH. A between the H. Okay, yeah, Yahawah and an H. Boom, right? So now, here's the thing. There's some people, right? So for instance, you see this hat right here? This is God's name in ancient Hebrew. Yahawah, right? Some people pronounce it Yahuwah.
So when y'all read from
Hebrews from right to left.
Yeah,
because Arabic comes from Hebrew and Aramaic.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah,
But again, that's our true language, Hebrew, right? So the God of our ancestors, his name is Yahawah. Some people pronounce it Yahuwah. Some people pronounce it Yehovah. Some people pronounce it Yahweh. Some people pronounce it Jehovah. But his name is Yahawah, right? And that's our God. He's not the same as the God of Islam, right? Because Allah is just a generic term. And again, when we look at Islam, it says that he has 99 names. No, he has one name. His name alone is Yahawah. Right. That's the God of our ancestors, right?
And one of the biggest points of how we know that he's not, all these gods are not the same God, right? Like how they, like you said, they say Allah is all of them in one, is because when we read in the Torah, it says that our God, the God of Israel, does not change.
Yep.
Right? But when you look into these other pantheons, Allah, right? All these other deities that different people worship, they allow you to do things that the God of Israel don't allow you to do. That's a change. So they can't be the same God because, again, the God of Israel doesn't change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. Right. So, for instance, in the book, is a book of wisdom called the Book of Sirach. It says, "God giveth no man license to sin. Sin is the transgression or the breaking of law." Right. So the word transgression means to cross the line. Right. So here's the line in the sand that God drew. Right. Here are the do's and don'ts. Right. Here's the line. Right. Here's the do's. Here's the don'ts. Right. If you don't do the do's, you transgress. If you do the don'ts, you transgress. You've sinned, right? So sin is breaking God's laws. So eating shrimp, crab, and lobster will be breaking God's law. Eating pork will be breaking God's laws, right? Worshiping another God will be breaking God's law, right? Buying and selling and kindling fires on the Sabbath day will be breaking God's laws. Not keeping Passover, not keeping the Feast of First Fruits, keeping the Feast of Tabernacles would be transgressing or breaking God's laws. What we're telling our people is the reason why that we as a people, right? No matter if black people are Christian, Buddhist, Muslim, what have you, all over the world, all over America, right? Our people are at the bottom. Our people are going through hell, right? The young brother Cyrus, right? He got killed because an Asian man thought that he stole a water bottle when he did not, right? Those are curses. The Bible talks about how they hunt our steps. But all that is happening because we are not keeping our God's commandments. And that's all we're trying to get our people to understand, is that we're the children of Israel, right? And we have to leave Christianity, we have to leave Islam, we have to leave Buddhism, we have to leave all these, being a 5% or all these other ideologies, and come back to the truth that we're God's chosen people, we're the children of Israel, and we have to start keeping his commandments, right? I was raised Christian my entire life. I went to a Christian school from pre-K to 8th grade, right? I was baptized when I was 6 years old, and it was when I was 26, I came into the knowledge that we were the Israelites, and I stopped following Christianity. I stopped doing. I used to do all types. I used to smoke weed. I used to fuck bitches. I used to do all types of shit. I stopped doing that because those were sins, and I started following what God prescribed for us to do.
And again, most importantly, that's the reason why.
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. With all these other religions, there's no knowledge of self in it. Mm-hmm. Coming to this understanding is like, we're getting that This is one thing that we're destitute of. You see what I'm saying? We don't know who we are because we're taught that our history starts in the slavery. You see what I'm saying? We don't know anything beyond that. You see what I'm saying? And it's easy to manipulate our people with religion, right? Because religion just tells us, oh, let's forget the past, forget all of that. We're all equal. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? But there's no just. But think about that. If God is
let's start a new religion and just start
and forget everything. You see what I'm saying? But a just God, right? A just God doesn't allow slavery just to go unanswered. You see what I'm saying? A just God don't let that just go unanswered. And that's what we're letting you know. The reason why we even went into this is because we do have a just God. Right? And he's sticking according to what he promised us. Listen, I will let y'all prosper if you do this, or I will let y'all suffer if you do this. Because he's just, he stands on his word. Right? So again, a just God, that's why we need to come back to this understanding, because we get knowledge of self, and most importantly, we get the moral compass that our people need desperately right now.
Like even going back, bringing it back to Islam, right? Like the brother was saying that our God, he's just, he doesn't change, right? Like the Bible literally says, I change not, therefore you sons of Jacob are not consumed, right? We as a people are not consumed. We haven't been destroyed because God has his hand on us, right? God is, even though we still getting our ass whooped, because again, you have children. You whoop your children's ass when they act up, right? That's what our Heavenly Father, the Most High God, is doing with us, right? So now going back to this whole idea that he doesn't change, and it's all for us not being consumed. When we look at Islam, right, there's this doctrine known as abrogation, which is the changing of things. Allah says the one thing now, and then he changes it, right? For instance, in Surah 2 and 256, it says that there shall be no compulsion in religion. But then when you go, 7 surahs later, Surah 9, it literally says, make a treaty with these pagans, and then after the certain couple months, renege on it and kill them, because they don't follow Allah. That sounds very compulsory, right? So when we look at Islam and what it is, it's not our way, right? And it shows so many contradictions. Another example, right? The Quran says that demons come, that toothaches are caused by demons in your teeth. That's insane, right? Islam says that, the Quran says that that seminal fluid comes from the backbone. What? Right, there's so many anatomically incorrect things that the Quran says that are just absolutely unfounded scientifically. But when we look at the Bible gets proven by science all the time, right? Because it comes to the fact that this is the true way, right? And again, just so you understand, right? We're not like so-called Christians, because the word Christian means to be a follower of Christ. Christ was a Jew. Christ kept the commandments. Christ lived a sinless life. And we're supposed to follow in his footsteps. But Christianity teaches you, oh, Jesus did it, so you don't have to. He did it, so you don't have to.
Right. So we cool.
Right. And that's not what that's not what the Bible teaches.
I don't like that.
I don't like it either, right? So that's why we do what we do. Because Christ said, go out to the highways and hedges and compel our people to the marriage, right? We're trying to bid you to the marriage because you are God's chosen people, right? God sees you, that white man, that Asian man, that white man over there, God sees you up here. He sees them down here, right? And the reason why they're above us is because he said that he's going to send our enemies against us because we don't want to follow him. Because we want to follow the gods of our enemies, he's going to send our enemies against us. That's been the age-old story of Israel, right? The Israelites, they came out of Egypt. First thing they do is they say, hey, Aaron, build us a golden calf, right? They come into the land of Israel, right? They start keeping the commandments. Then they stop. They start following the religion of the other people around them. And then God sends their enemies against them. And it over and over and over and over again, right? The only way that we break the cycle is coming back to our God and keeping his commandments and following his ways. And his ways are spelled out in the Torah. It's not found in the Quran. It's not found in the Bhagavad Gita or this Hindu book or anything like that.
It's not really found in any of the religious books no more. You gotta, it's certain books that you have to like
well, that's
said,
what you
got.
got.
Call them hadiths in Islam, so I'm gonna just stick with that hadiths. But it's certain hadiths like you're not gonna get them from the religious books. Like you have to literally buy these specific books to actually search them up.
Okay, but so
the Bible, y'all have to do that same thing.
So the Bible, so like the average person, like the average so-called Christian, they have a Bible that has 66 books. right? When I was, like I said, I was raised in a Christian church, right? I went to a Christian school from pre-K to 8th grade, went to Catholic high school, right? So when I was coming up, we had a Bible rap song, right? And I knew all the books of the Bible, right? And part of the song says there's 66 books if you take a long look, 39 in the old, 27 in the new, right? However, the Bible, right, had 14 books that the white man took out in the late 1700s, known as the Apocrypha. It has prophecy, it has wisdom, and it has history that's important to understand the rest of the Bible. It's 80 books.
I was about to say it's almost 100.
Well, no, it's 80.
Yeah.
80 to be exact, right? So you have what's called the Bible, and then you have the Apocrypha, right? So you have, the Bible has the Old Testament, the New Testament, and then they separated the Apocrypha. However, before, like when King James had the Bible translated in the KJV in 1611, there was 80 books, right? Yeah. You had the Apocrypha included, right? You still go, like when I went to Catholic high school, I remember looking at a Bible at school. I'm like, I've never seen these books a day in my life. But those are the books that the Protestant white man took out, because
the main part of the truth.
It's not the main part. The main part of the truth is the Torah, because the Bible says that God's law is the truth.
That's the original truth.
Yeah.
Let's say that. We're going to say the Torah is the original truth. I'm pretty
It's
sure,
the standard of truth.
Yes. I'm pretty sure during the beginning time before King James in with the version, Christianity really did align with, you know.
Christianity has not aligned with the truth since, I would say, since the 1st century AD, right? Because the Bible says that there will be a falling away, right? And that the book will be sealed, and that people will be running to and fro and not have the understanding, but that knowledge shall increase in the last, right? How is that happening today? There are all over the world, millions of blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, and people all over the globe coming to the realization that we are the children of Israel because it's biblical prophecy. In Deuteronomy chapter 30, it says that it's going to come to pass when all these things come upon you, the blessings and the curse, that you will call them to mind and you'll return unto me.
Do y'all believe that how you say the world is set in stone? Like how we say in Islam, you know, God basically has a certain set people that's going to
a predestination.
So y'all believe
absolutely. Because the Bible talks about, like, I'll show you right here in the book of Daniel, the 12th chapter. I appreciate it, bro. So the book of Daniel, the 12th chapter. Watch this, right? So it says, where we at? Boom, 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 Daniel. Right, Daniel 12. It says, and at that time shall Michael stand up, the great prince. So this is the angel, which standeth for the children of thy people. And there shall be a time of trouble such as never was since there was a nation, even to that same time. And at that time thy people shall be delivered, every one that shall be found written in the book. And many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake. Right? So, like, for instance, let's say there's
saying that basically the dead is going to come
the day of judgment, there's going to be a resurrection. Christ talks about it in John 5. There's a resurrection unto life to them that have done good, and a resurrection unto damnation to them that have done evil. So I'll give you an example. My grandfather, right, love him to death. My grandfather died in 2010, my freshman year of college, right, and his whole life, right, was he was a Rolling Stone. He was a sinner, right, and he died a sinner, right. So me understanding the Bible and understanding the prophecy, understanding the Torah, right, I know that when the day of judgment comes, my grandfather's going to be resurrected unto damnation. I know that, right? Same thing with every one of my grandparents that have died, same thing, right? My parents, they're alive today, they still won't fall.
It's like how Muslims say, if you pass away without seeking any type of knowledge, then you're damned.
Yeah, right. So same sentiment, right? So it says, and many of them that sleep in the dust of the earth shall awake, some to everlasting life, and some to shame and everlasting contempt. So there's been brothers within our community, right, who followed the path, who've done the right thing, who repented, lived the straight and narrow life, and that the Most High God called them home, right? Lord willing, when resurrection comes, when judgment day comes, they'll be resurrected unto life, right? So in the ways of life is following the Torah, right? So this just shows predestination. It says, and they that be wise shall shine as the brightness of the firmament, and they that turn many to righteousness shall be as the stars forever and ever. But thou, O Daniel, shut up the words and seal the book even to the time of the end. So again, there will be a time where the understanding would be gone and it will be sealed up into the end. And here we are in the last days, and now prophecy is coming to pass, and people are realizing who we are.
I'm not. You didn't say Islam not true. You said Islam is not the right way, basically. Remember how you just said that? Now, when I'm with the little that I have learned in Islam, I basically learned that we are not allowed to deny y'all, because what y'all speak is literally, like I said, y'all are more closer aligned to Allah than we are. So what y'all speak is like, you know, y'all is technically speaking close to the truth, you might as well say.
Absolutely.
Like,
I agree.
And
that's why we want you to come into the knowledge, bro.
It's like Islam teaching me to humble yourself. Don't deny no knowledge that comes to you, because you never know, that might be what you was actually seeking.
Absolutely.
Looking for.
Let me show you, I can speak to that, right? Because I was in a Christian church, right? Again, Christianity is not the way. And I knew that we were the Israelites, but I didn't know the truth, right? So I knew that we were the Israelites for about a year. I was on my way to go meet my old choir director from college, because he was a pastor, right? I was trying to go to seminary school to be a pastor.
Right.
And as I'm on my way, this is the day after the Eagles won the Super Bowl back in 2018, this white boy clips my car. My car gets totaled. The Most High God stopped me from going to that meeting, right? Stopped me from going to that meeting, right? Took everything away from me. And later that summer, I knew we were Israelites, but I understood the truth that we have to follow the Torah, which is the way of truth, right? And after that, I've been on this path ever since.
Christian is the strayed ignorant type of Israelites.
Yeah.
They stray so far.
Well, Christianity teaches that anyone of any race can be saved, right? And it can be co-heirs with Christ.
And as long as
the Bible don't teach that. The Bible teaches that the children of Israel will be delivered from the hand of their enemies and from all over the world, and be brought back to being God's children, right? And go under what's known as the bond of the covenant, where God will literally program them to keep his laws. And after that, then the establishment of the kingdom of heaven, where the children of Israel in Christ will rule over all nations. That's what the Bible teaches, right? So guess what? Every Arab Muslim is going into slavery when Christ returns. Every Chinese person is going into slavery. Every white person is going into slavery. They're all going into slavery because they all enslaved us. God chose the people. The Bible says, he that touches you touches the apple of my eye. The apple of your eye is your pupil, right? So when you look in your pupil, you see a reflection. We are a reflection of God. So when the other nations touch us, they're touching God, right? They've made themselves enemies against our God by coming at us. So the Most High God is going to restore that, right? The book of Isaiah, the 60th chapter, says that.
That's what we call the time of the Imam Mahdi, when all peace and silence is basically going to be everywhere.
Well, the peace is going to come when we are put back in power. Because the Bible says in Proverbs 29:2 that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked bear rule, the people mourn. Well, who's in the rulership? The white man, the so-called Jewish man, who's not a Jew, right? Who's the devil that the Bible speaks of. They're ruling the world, and everyone's just in utter chaos, right? But when we are put back into our rightful place as the rulers of this earth, there will be peace, right? There will be no more wars. But we're looking at a third world war getting ready to happen. Why? Because the wicked are ruling, right? Because Trump wants to go to war with Iran because he wants to prevent himself and the rest of the Epstein class from getting justice, right? But here's the thing, right? A lot of those Epstein type people, them Arab sheiks and whatnot over in Saudi Arabia and Dubai and whatnot, they doing all types of the same stuff, right? And again, like I was telling you, Arabs are inherently racist against black people. They hate us.
I think a lot of them have no problem setting up shop and selling stuff that's detrimental to us, but it's haram to them. You see what I'm saying? They sell us bull crap in all their corner stores, right? Blunts, right? All the stuff
they'll
that's
sell us pork, but they won't eat pork. Like I grew up in Brooklyn, right? My corner store, so to speak.
They even do it to black Muslim brothers.
Yeah, because in Islam, as a black man, you are at the bottom. Right. But here's the thing: in our religion, right? Our religion, the Torah, being the children of Israel, we're above everyone. The Torah teaches me to prefer you, right, over anyone else, right? One of the second greatest commandment, Christ said, the first great commandment is to love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, mind, and soul, and the second is like unto it, right? To love thy neighbor as thyself, right? So, and he said, on these two hang all the rest of the law and the prophets. So, If I love God, I'm going to do the things that God says do. And if I love you, I'm not going to try to take your woman. I'm not going to try to steal from you. I'm not going to try to kill you, right? I'm going to want you to succeed. I'm going to want you to prosper. That's what the Torah teaches us. Like, for instance, the Torah says if an animal dies of itself, you cannot sell it to an Israelite, but you can sell it to a heathen. The Torah says I can lend, if I lend to you, I can't take interest, but I can exact usury or take interest from other people. The Torah says that I can enslave other people. I can't do that to you, right? If you're down on your luck, I have to have you as a hired servant, right? Yeah, you work for me, but you're getting paid. The rest of these people, they're not getting paid, right? Because the Torah teaches the children of Israel to prefer each other. And that's always been our problem. We've always wanted to follow the ways of other people, and we put other people first. That's why it was so crazy. You look at what happened in South Carolina with the young brother Cyrus got killed. All these steppers, all the shooters, all the ooders down in South Carolina that be killing black folk, why they not stepping to try to smoke that goddamn Chinese boy, right? No, all the steppers, all the shooters ain't never try to go after George Zimmerman. Ain't never try to go after any of these people that have killed our people, because we have a hatred against each other.
It's crazy. I heard something. Maybe that's what they call it, a stereotype. Yeah, I moved it over.
It's all good.
Maybe that's what they call it. Why they call it a stereotype? Because I heard they try to make it as if there be I'm gonna say true Israelite. You know, everything has the truth where I call them the truth, because this in all Christianity, Islam, and in the Torah. This is, you got the ones that really follow it the way it's supposed to be followed, the right way, and I call it fake